All right, let's get right into it. We've been told one thing about potassium for basically our whole lives, right? But what if I told you the best sources are not what you think? In this explainer, we are going to uncover the real heroes of this vital mineral.
Yeah, the banana, of course. It's the poster child for potassium, isn't it? It's the first thing you think of when you get a leg cramp. But is it really the best choice? Let's, peel back the layers on this one.
And right away, here's the catch. Sure, bananas have potassium. We're not debating that. But a single banana also hits you with around 27 grams of sugar, plus a whole lot of starch. That's a really steep price to pay for just one mineral. And spoiler alert, it's not the only food with this little problem.
Take a look at this list. These are all the foods we're usually told to eat for potassium, right? Bananas, potatoes, beans, sweet potatoes. And yes, they're all loaded with it, but they all share one big glaring trait. They are all starches. So why are we picking on starch? Well, because in your body, starch acts like a hidden sugar. The second you cook and eat these foods, that starch converts to sugar, fast. And that sends your blood sugar on a total roller coaster.
So, if the usual suspects are maybe not the best choice, where do we get our potassium? It's time to meet the real champions. We're talking about foods that are not only overflowing with potassium, but are also packed with other nutrients and, most importantly, low in sugar. And taking the #1 spot on our list, the avocado. Would you believe a single avocado has about 700 milligrams of potassium? That's way more than a banana, and it brings a ton of other amazing benefits to the table. And here's exactly why it's our #1. Avocados have 0 starch and pretty much 0 net carbs, so no blood sugar spike. They're full of healthy fats, which actually help you absorb the potassium better. And they are loaded with magnesium. Remember that mineral. We're going to come back to it. On top of all that, they keep you full for hours. It's a total win-win.
But hold on, it gets even better. Check this out. Wild-caught salmon. Just half a fillet gives you a whopping 970 milligrams of potassium. And 0 carbs. It is an absolute nutritional powerhouse.
Okay, this chart really puts things into perspective. Look at those numbers. Avocado, salmon, huge amounts of potassium, 0 net carbs, plus they give you magnesium and omega-3s. And then your eyes jump down to Swiss chard. And no, that is not a typo. This is where things just get kind of crazy. In a good way. Leafy greens are like potassium gold. A single cup of cooked spinach, 840 milligrams. The tops of beets, 1,300 milligrams. But Swiss chard, it's just in its own universe with an unbelievable 8,000 milligrams in 1 cup. Now, here is a super important tip to make sure you actually get all that goodness. Potassium is water soluble. So what does that mean? It means if you boil your greens, a lot of that amazing potassium just leaks out into the water you pour down the drain. So the best way to cook them, sauté or steam them, that keeps all the nutrients locked right in. Okay, I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. Eating that many leafy greens, isn't there a downside? You're right to ask that, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. And that is a totally fair question. Greens like spinach and Swiss chard are high in something called oxalates, which, for some people, can contribute to kidney stones. But, and this is a big but, there are really simple and effective ways to manage this. So here's your simple 3-step playbook. First, always eat your greens with something high in calcium, like cheese. The oxalate will bind to the calcium in your stomach, not in your kidneys. Problem solved. Second, get more magnesium. Remember that mineral? It's basically the antidote to kidney stones. And finally, just stay hydrated. Drink enough water, and it's almost impossible for those stones to form. All right, let's have some fun with this. We're going to shift gears and go on a little treasure hunt for some potassium sources that are probably already hiding in your kitchen right now. Let's start with a number, 530 milligrams. Any idea what food that might be? Yep, just 1 cup of delicious sautéed portobello mushrooms. They're an amazing low-carb way to get a serious potassium boost. Okay, how about this one? 400 milligrams. This is a super common kitchen staple. It's tomato paste. Seriously, just 2 tablespoons of that concentrated paste will give you a solid 400 milligrams. It's such an easy way to sneak more potassium into a sauce or a soup. And for our last pantry surprise, a quick 250 milligrams. I think this one is going to shock you. Cream of tartar. You know, that stuff in your spice rack you maybe use once a year for baking? Well, it's actually a pure form of potassium.
It's called potassium B-tartrate. A tiny half teaspoon has 250 milligrams. You can literally just stir it into water for a quick supplement.
So we've gone from avocados to salmon to cream of tartar. We've covered a ton of ground, but there is one last, absolutely crucial piece of this puzzle that you have to understand to make any of this work.
And that final piece is magnesium. The best way to think about it is like this. Magnesium is the key that unlocks the door for potassium. Your body can't use potassium correctly if you don't have enough magnesium. They're a team, and that's what makes foods like avocados and leafy greens so perfect. They give you both.
So now you know how to look beyond the banana. You're armed with the knowledge to pick truly fantastic sources of potassium. But the big question you should be asking yourself is this: are you also getting enough of its essential partner, magnesium, to make sure all this good work actually pays off?